Hey there, welcome. I'm Damien, I'm just another starving artist on the internet. So this is the second entry of my character design journal, and last time I finished the first concept for this character called Brynhilda, and I was not happy with how it came out at all, so I just opened a new file and started over. The first thing I did was try different hairstyles. I tried a few short styles that could fit the librarian look I was going for. But in the end, I ended up staying with the original design. The second design was also a strong option, but because of some decisions I took later on while designing the rest of the body, it made more sense to go with the first one. I'll explain what I mean eventually. And actually, I also liked the fourth one. I just felt that it will fit better a much younger character, so I may still use it later on for someone else. As for the rest of the design, I started to make changes from the most basic aspects. I kept the general body shape in a different pose, and as a guide, I made this triangle where I will fit and balance the pose. So when compared to the previous design, the body is no longer completely facing to the front, which has actually nothing to do with character design per se, but it makes the pose look a lot more natural and convey better the feeling I wanted for the character. The feet are now much further apart from each other, so that they more or less cover the base of the triangle. And both legs are straight, forming a smaller triangle inside. Everything in the pose actually looks very straight, which kind of helps the strict librarian look I was going for. The arms are crossed just like before, and actually you will normally want to avoid that because it's covering parts of the design that may be important. And if you're working with other people like CG artists and animators, you'll need to show what's going on there. Maybe by choosing a different pose or doing it another drawing that shows what's in that area. Depending on who you're working with as well, you may be asked to do turnarounds of the characters, like front, side, and back view, for CG artists to trace around and have the 3D model look as closely as possible to the 2D concepts. However, in my case, since I'm my own CG artist, I know what's in my head, so I don't really need any of that. With that said, though, I will try to avoid doing that again in future designs. Before I went on coloring anything, I attempted to draw her younger version for the first time, just to have an idea of how could I adapt the hairstyle to a younger character. Somehow tracing over the head, like the older version, wasn't really working, so I couldn't get the face to look right. So I just did it from scratch. Since this version wouldn't actually be revealed until very well into the story, in a flashback, I wanted the audience to be surprised when they see Brynhilda's eyes for the first time because of the contrast with the thick brown glasses. Then going back to the main design, the skirt is shorter, so the character can move around more easily. I refined the shape of the waistcoat and got rid of that weird handkerchief I did on the first design and replaced it with a very long scarf that flows along the sides of the triangle I did at the beginning. And I added that thing on the neck of the shirt. I don't really know what it's called. And a small pin or brooch that holds it in place. Then in terms of colors, I went for far less saturated palette and stayed on this side of the color wheel you see here. Of course, with the exception of the skin. And I got rid of that orange highlight that I had on the handkerchief before because it just looked bad and pointless, to be honest. As if I'm trying to bring attention to it, but there's nothing really there. I'm also trying to keep layers to a minimum, so I did all the coloring on for each individual sketch on a single layer, shading and everything. And here I'm trying different hair colors for a younger version. I wanted the colors in both versions to make sense together, but I just couldn't get the right color that looked right. So I just painted whatever and then fixed it with a correction layer. So now that both colors are somewhat coordinated, if I want to change them, I can just use a new correction layer to modify them both together. Um, so what I'm doing now is a quick sketch of the back view to see how the colors will look from behind. And maybe if I need to fill any areas of flat space that may not look that good as they are right now, like big areas where there's nothing going on. I didn't include the scarf, so it's also to see what it looks under it. And I just color picked the colors from the front view. There isn't much to say about shadings. It's just that. I'm still doing so shading as well, like before, just for the sake of efficiency and speed, to be honest. And remember what I said before about the arms crossed in front of the body? Yeah, so thanks to that back view, I realized that the waistcoat looked a bit too plain, too uniform, all the way down. So I'm changing the color of the belt later to break that down. In the front view, the arms are already doing that, so that's why I didn't notice. Um, and I went for a darker color, maybe something that will fit leather or velvet texture. You will see in a second. There we go. And since I couldn't design the front of the belt in the main drawing, I'm doing it here on the side. It's a thick, quite a thick belt. So I gave it a thinner strip that fastens in the middle, and then designed some metallic decorations to make it feel a bit more complete. It felt a bit weird having just that in the front, but instead of designing something that to go all the way around the belt, just some metallic edges on the whole thing did the job. So that's what I went for. I will now attempt to follow a similar design to that of the belt, but in the scarf. And it wasn't really working, so I tried mixing other things with it and went for an asymmetrical design. The wings-like design doesn't really make a lot of sense now, like I just pulled it out of nowhere. But I will explain it properly in the next video when I start designing her younger version. So I will import some patterns from that. Um, to be fair, I'm just doing random things, hoping that it looks like something at some point. I'll revisit it later. And I tried different colors to see how it looked, and for some reason I was okay with that weird gray. Do you see it right there? But looking at it now, that doesn't look that good, to be honest. And then looking at references for jewelry, you see a lot of crazy, intricate designs, but when I was designing the brooch, I don't really need a lot of details for it because it's only a small part of that character, and it will most likely not be seen that close anyways. So a very simple design is enough. Then when I was coloring it, I went for a really saturated blue as I wanted it to really stand out, but it was way too strong, so I just had to tone it down. So now let's have a look at the finished thing. We have the big triangle here, and there's also a few more triangles that float downwards inside the bigger one, and in general I tried to keep everything more or less sharp. That's why I went for this hairstyle that has at least 3 sharp points, while the other one was a lot rounder. There you go, 1, 2, and 3 sharp points. Of course, having everything sharp will feel a bit overwhelming. So that's why there's these horizontal lines on the belt, the base of the skirt, and even the shoulder section as well, like a natural division, that make different sections in the triangle breaks. Makes the design more digestible. Also, the glasses are so big and round because behind her whole act of being really straight and sometimes straight up mean, she actually has a very soft and caring personality. She's basically a tsundere. So that's all for this video. If you like what I do, give it a like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. I'm always open to suggestions and constructive criticism, so let me know what you think in the comments, as well as any questions you may have. If you want to see me designing characters live, check out my Twitch. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and all that. All links in the description. But most importantly, keep drawing and keep creating. See you next time.